order, and on September 11th, 4:30 p.m. This is the first time we're meeting at this time, and with it being September 11th, Toby, would you mind praying for us? So could we just have a brief moment of silence before you pray, just to remember the 22-year anniversary of September 11th?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, I just praise your holy, wonderful, sweet name, Lord. I praise you and thank you for everything that you do for us. Thank you for your guidance and direction. Thank you for all the servants around the Lord. Help us not to forget your Son, Jesus Christ, who we love. All these things I ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Everyone's here except for Tim, correct? Is there anybody missing that I'm not seeing? Tim will be here. He's just on his way. He did talk to him. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, good deal. And I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for last meeting. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Good deal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, vote same. Okay, we got an abstention by Don because he wasn't here. And we're going to public recognition, and I was thinking this would be a perfect moment to just say, welcome to Don, because this is the first time here. So, and we got Kevin Baker at 424 A.B. Way Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I appreciate the moment of silence for 9/11. Some of us were closer to it than others back then. And I also appreciate the 4:30, the meeting time. I will admit I haven't been able to give Highway Department as much scrutiny as I probably should have. So, welcome to 4:30 and more of what you're seeing now. So I have a couple of things that I'd like to bring up. I come from an ISO FDA background, and I noticed I was looking through the attachments, and I had a couple of questions, like, how do we allow one subdevelopment, Creekview Estates, to have curbing, but then another subdevelopment, Baker Purdue Estates, to not have it? Don't we have standards on that? And I'd be curious. I've never heard any discussion of that. And then what really piqued my interest is when we evaluated it and what we're going to be held accountable for down the road, where we said we have curbing, yes or no, yes, and then right next to it says, if yes, the number of feet, and neither of the forms are filled out. Now, from my perspective, if it's not filled out, that would be a violation in my industry, but I mean, how do we know how much we're supposed to be accountable for? Maybe that's just standard. You take care of all the road and that, but that just kind of caught my attention. Secondly, the other thing that I'd like to understand is I saw that we're getting some state aid to work on Centerpoint Road. Comes out to $123,199 per mile. I didn't know if that's the going rate per mile now. Is that a good rate, a bad rate? I'm curious to hear that. Because is that what we're going to be held accountable down the road? And are our budgets tooled up for that kind of rate? But anyhow, thank you again for the 4:30 time.
Thank you, sir. Before we close out, does anyone else have public comments? Not to me. Okay, thank you. We're going to close out. Thank you so much. And just for note, we'll address that. We'll address some of those answers on state aid time. Okay, so for the chairman, I have no report for old business or anything like that, but for new business, we need to elect a new chairman and a chair and a vice chairman. So take nominations for that if you would.
I'll nominate you.
Okay.
For chairman.
want to do it, somebody else, anybody else want to be nominated for anything? Or any I just don't know how this works, so I'm going to do it wrong.
There's no one else you can take a vote.
Okay, do I need a second on that? Okay, let's take a vote then on, I'm going to abstain, obviously, or vote against myself. For chairman, I'll just abstain, but if you all wouldn't mind, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same token, and please note that I abstain. Well, thanks, guys, so much. It's been a pleasure to be a chairman of this commission, but I'm thankful that we're actually meeting at a time when the public can be here, so this is going to be a fun time for us. So, nominations for vice chairman, I'm going to nominate Shannon again, if that's okay with you, Shannon.
Unless Dawn would like to do it.
I'm good with you, if it's good with the committee for you to
Anyone
remain
else,
vice
Terry?
chairman. I'm good with you.
I feel like Terry knows more than any of us here, truthfully, but all truth. He's been around us.
I wasn't degrading myself like that now.
Okay, well, if there's no other nominations, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same token. Good deal. So, Shannon is our vice chairman. And report of the road superintendent. Tell me what you mind. You got a report.
I'm sorry, did you have a report?
No, I didn't. I didn't have one.
All right, well, we didn't have any old business to go over, but what I wanted to start out with was some new business, and it's a request and acceptance of Creekview Estate, Section 4. If you turn to attachment 1, you'll look at Everest Drive and Coldwater Place. And the question that he talked about the curbing, we mark yes on there. We have the length of road listed. I can get more detail than that, but what happens is if you have curbing, it's on each side of the road, and it's just it's the parameters of the roadway. So that's how. And Marshall, I'll refer to you. I mean, we've got 2 or 3 sections that you can go with. You can go with curbing. You can go with roadways that have shoulders and ditches. And really, the cost is about the same, but in the more rural areas, they seem to go with the shoulders and the ditches. And where you get closer to town, they usually put the storm in because they're actually a lot of cases tied onto an existing subdivision. But
right, I was gonna say the planning commission is the body that creates the subdivision. So, whenever that, I'm not sure when it happened with these subdivisions, but
right.
Whenever it did, the decision was made to go with the curb and gutter or the ditch section.
So you've got about 3 choices to make, and with this phase, it's an existing subdivision, so they went with that specification. Because that's what everybody's on. So, and again, this is somebody that has went in and went through the rigorous process of getting everything done, subcontracted, the plats made, and all the inspections and approvals, and they did it right, and it's in good standing, and it's went through the process between me and development, and it's just ready to be pushed through.
You feel like that it's all up to every, I know you said that, but you feel like, you and Marshall both feel like it's up to every specification?
Yes, I mean, we went in, they did repairs and fixed everything just like it should be done.
Who would be here?
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to just say one thing with Kevin, the citizen's remark. He was asking about the link on the state aid. So in a second, will you address that?
I'll address that when we get to
it.
Yeah.
And then on this one, is there how long do you feel like that? Do they do the same kind of like whenever that you're out there doing roads? Is it there is a certain standard that they have to meet that's gonna last a certain amount
Oh,
of years,
yes.
correct?
Yes, and we do a rigorous, I mean, we had, just this last 2 weeks, we made a contractor go in and take up the entire first phase of the roadway. Probably 85% of it and redo it. So we're very serious about getting the road up to the specifications, and once they do, then we go through the process and make sure that everything's good. I mean, they go and fix sidewalks, curbs, the roadway, everything. So, you know, what it's doing is saving us money and the county money, because if it has a failure, I'm the one that has to go in and fix it, and we do not, that's something we do not need to do.
Okay.
Whatever the mix was that Randy Baker and Steve used out there, I think we need to use it on our roads, because it's held up really, really well.
They,
Out there, Creekview.
yeah, it's still the E-mix design. We use that all the time, and it is a good mix.
So it's been down, what, 2 years now?
Somewhere
in that ballpark.
It's close. It's close. They had to work on some things with the water drainage and things, and that took them a little while, and that was the reason it took them so long to get to this point. But
Especially
yeah,
on the backside.
yeah, it was good. They did a good job with it.
Okay.
So I would ask the committee to, this is one that we have to vote on, and then we'll go to Baker Estates.
All right, so, do I have a motion to open this up for questions?
I'll motion.
Have I got a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye to open up for questions. Okay, go ahead. You wanna ask anything?
Yes, actually, so on the, it was not specific to this road that you mentioned that you took up, 85% of, was that after, because we just passed, unless I'm wrong, 6 months ago, the new road standards for the under roads.
What happens, Shannon, when they go in and put the road bed down, the base stone and the binder, the curb and everything down, they have to wait until it's 75% built out. And so while they're waiting, and if the construction process destroys the road, they're still on the hook to fix it.
Oh, okay, so that's what it was.
That's what
Okay,
it is.
all right, that's all I had a question about.
Okay.
And I understand the curb and gutter from going to planning meetings. So I know.
All right.
Does anybody else have a question about that? About this specific, Creekview? Okay, and then, while we're on at the Baker Purdue, that's the one that Terry was talking about.
That's next.
Yeah, that's, okay, good. So we'll go ahead on this one, we need to pass this on.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so, all in favor, for passing this on to the full commission, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Would you mind addressing Baker Purdue?
All right, Baker Purdue is, really that area is called Bethpage, but it is based on what we were talking about before. It's shoulder stone and ditching. It does have some tile in and culverts and things of that nature, but this is one that's been down. It's took a while because of some things with the flats that they had to wait on, and redoing some ditching and things of that nature to get it up to our standards. So it took a little while, but it's in great shape. It's held up very well, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. I think it's a good county road.
I didn't get a chance to drive this one, I like to always try to drive it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. Okay, so all in favor of opening this up for discussion, say aye.
Aye.
All right, actually, I'm sorry, I didn't get a motion. Can I have a motion to open this up for discussion?
Motion.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, is there any question on this one specifically? Anything to do with that Baker Purdue?
Yeah, Tommy, what type of shoulder are we looking at here? Is this a
shot and chipped, or?
It's not shot and chipped, it's based on, and, they went in with the road and made the full bed width, and then they come back and did the shoulder with the crusher on later, and it's got a 2% grade. And the way they've got the ditching and everything, I know what you'd probably think, just like I would. In some areas maybe having washing, but the grade on it is so mild, you're not going to have that. It's in really good shape, and it's hard as rock. We've been out there several times, and in fact, we made them redo the head walls on the culverts and the tiles going under the road, and revamped the grade for the hydraulics for the flow. And but for a rural subdivision, I wish all of them were done as well.
That's the one that Commissioner Wright was from. Okay, well, all in favor to push this on the full commission, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same token. Oh, I didn't take a motion for that either. Sorry, guys, I'm slipping. Got a motion? Okay, a second. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same token. Sorry. Okay, so we still got this state aid roads.
Yeah, I put this in here basically to let y'all know, back in the fall, we talked about 5 projects that we're going to try to do this year with state aid money, and the 2 that I can get done before Christmas are Lindsay Hollow and Center Point. Center Point being the first one of choice to get done. The thing that happened to me is because of the major repair that we had, and I know many of you knew that the state had to come in on Center Point Road and do a repair at the end of Long Hollow. It was really in bad shape. They had to go in and undercut and fill in to where it'd be structurally sound to hold the weight, and up under the guardrail it was venturing out into the drive lane. And so I got with TDOT maintenance, and they did the repair, but there was no sense in us paving the road until that was done, because my goal was to pave Center Point during the summer months while school was out. And so now when we go in there and do it, we'll do it under restricted hours to work with the schools. It may take us a day longer to do it, but it'll be something. It'll take something off my schedule as far as repairs go, because it's a road that is repaired every 2 or 3 weeks. It's needing to be paid as soon as possible. So we're a few weeks away from it. And how they do these state aid roads, you've got different ways of doing it with the state. State aid road is attached to a state road, and a lot of times they're between one state road and another. And then you can also be doing a section that's attached to a state aid road and another state road, but you get state aid money to do these roads. And so probably we've got somewhere in the vicinity of 20% of our roadways are state aid roads. So we don't get to do just a wide span of paving with this money, but generally they're our main artery for our road system, and it helps us get these roads up to date and maintenance well. And so that's what we're trying to do. Center Point, I mean, I would say everybody in here uses it weekly. So I'm really excited about getting this done. To answer the question that was given earlier, the state comes up with the quantities because they're given the money. And usually what happens is a 75-25% split. But everything that they go by, we have to go, because they're giving us the money, we go by their specifications on what we put in place on the roadway. So the cost of it is based on us going in, and we're doing repairs on culverts, which on this one we had already done the culverts before, so we don't have to do anything there. But we're going in, patching, and then we do like a 3/4 inch scratch across the entire road. What that entails is you're really paving a 3/4 inch lift across the road to take out all the rutting and different things and alligator, and it kind of creates a shield from reflecting reflection, stuff coming back up through it. It hits the second time, it's got a good road. Of course, we look at the proper density in between. So the cost of the roadway is based on their specifications. So you can do a 75-25 split or 98%, 2% split. And you just have to decide which way you're going to go as far as the money, what you're trying to do over a period of time. Because I want to spread it out over more miles. So the cost per mile is not based on what my management is, it's based on what the state's telling me to do. But when you look at it, it is a county road that has to be paved. I would be paving this at 100% cost otherwise. And so I'm very appreciative of having state aid money, which gives me 75% to go out there and do it at a lot less cost to the department.
Does the state pitch in on the thermoplastic and the signage?
It depends on where you put your money at. I elect to put all my money in asphalt because it's the most costly thing on the project. And so there's such a small amount of that on it, I just go ahead and do it because I just don't see using the money for that.
Point of order, we need to open this up for discussion. I'll make a motion to open this up for discussion.
Yeah, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Yeah, I did, on the thermoplastic, so that's a pretty dangerous intersection.
Yeah, I've got
Been quite a few accidents.
I've got to thermo that in and then actually put some reflective markers from Long Hollow Pike coming in on Center Point so far, but that's stuff that we can do in-house.
I drive that all the time because we go to Beach Church, and I'm so glad you're gonna fix it because
I'm excited.
it's much worse than it was last year when you talked about Center Point Road. But when you did the repair at Center Point where it hits Long Hollow, because I'm not gonna get out of my car and stand at that very dangerous intersection, I couldn't really tell what you did. Like, was it, I could see gravel and riprap. I'm just asking out of curiosity.
Well, I didn't do it, the state did it.
Oh, okay, well, never mind.
And see, here's the thing. Here's one of the things that I do in the department. It's up to the road superintendent. On these right-of-ways where you come off Long Hollow Pike, that's a state right-of-way. I could actually put a key joint up to where our right-of-way starts and start paving there. I always elect to tie in that extra few feet. Because I have seen roads that have been paved in the past to where the road really looks good, but that 3-4 feet right there is just potholed to death, and it's just crazy.
So I know that you like to do that on the city side as well. Are you gonna be doing it on the Hendersonville city limit side?
No, at the city limit side, the city has already did their part of Center Point, so we'll key join and stop right there.
Okay, I just wondered. Okay. Those were my only questions.
Tim had a quick question on this. Is this state pass-through money?
It's a state aid money that we have in our budget.
Something that they just passed through during the last session, not special session, but.
No, it's the state aid money that they passed before this last budget.
So, one quick question about it, if you don't mind. Thanks for being so candid about it, but what happens, will you just walk me through the process? Is it the same as normal, like the state takes competitive bids? Is that how it works?
No.
And they say this is how much we're gonna give you on it? Or is it just, this is
It's
the
based
amount of
on-
money they're gonna give you?
It's width times length times how many tons it is. And so they know what our prices are to pick up the mix. And so they base it off what our cost is.
And what percentage did you say they give?
75%.
75% of the total, cost of the asphalt? Right?
Yes. I spend it as much on, because that's where all the money's at.
And then when that comes through, I understand. And then when that comes through, there's, I guess what I'm asking is, once you get that
We
money granted,
we did the whole job, and then we turn our billing in to the state, then they reimburse us.
Okay, so, so you could be more competitive if you wanted to be, or whatever, if you came along, you're like, okay, we can save money on this or this, or do you have their strict guidelines you have to be on, like?
I go by their strict guidelines, but I mean, we're doing it as cheap as we can, but we're doing it by their guidelines. So, I mean, there's nothing else that's bid here other than the fact that we're doing it. We're not subbing it out. We're doing all the work ourselves.
I just saw it said the contractor name was Rogers for asphalt.
That's the asphalt.
For the asphalt.
Yeah, we buy the asphalt.
But you can buy from other places if you've got a better deal, is what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
oh yeah. Yeah, and so what I do is, when we set this up, we turn in the mix designs for the people that give us the cheapest price.
You see my question.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
I didn't think about that.
I just want to make sure.
Excuse me, to the citizen's question, because I don't know, I know 3 or 4 years ago, it was $85,000 in Hendersonville per mile, and that was through Rogers Food. I remember watching that. And I know it's gone up significantly more, but how much is it a mile to pave now?
You can, it's
What's the roundabout?
It's around 130,000 a mile right now.
But they're just paying for the expo.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Yeah.
was asking for the city,
No, if
because he quoted
right.
$123,000 a mile.
It's costing us around 130,000 a mile to do it at our cost. When if you get a contractor, it's going to be closer to 160.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't know, because I haven't
Yeah.
looked at it in a while, that's why,
Right.
I asked for the
Sure.
citizen's
Sure.
comments.
No problem.
Thank you for clarifying that. So all, anybody want to, I'll entertain a motion. Or anybody want to make a motion about this?
Make a motion.
Okay, you want to make a motion to pass this through to the,
Well, this is really, this is not something we vote on. This is information. I'm just letting you know. This has already been passed. I mean, the state aid money is in my budget. And I've got 5 jobs that are approved that we put in the budget. This is information for y'all, because I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. And what I'll do is I'll send y'all emails when we're starting, what time frame, what the hours are, different things like that on this and Lindsay Hollow. Because you're gonna get the cost too. And so I want to make sure that you understand what we're doing beforehand, to where if somebody calls you, it looks like we're actually discussing this.
Do you have your other 3? You said that you've got 5 roads.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other 3?
I sent them.
Oh, are they in here too?
They're not in here, but they were in the last, it was probably 2 packets ago, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
there was 5 packets that was in, I guess it was in November.
I heard that, you were saying.
But if you don't have it, I'll resend it to you.
No, that's fine, I can keep my.
And I know there's nothing we can do on the north end of Lindsay Hollow, coming down on the Dobbins. That's a horrible spot right there.
It is, and I've talked to TDOT maintenance about it, and actually, Jay Norris, the director of Region 3, rode through there, and we've got some other things that he's looked at. I mean, Commissioner Jones, we've had things on Highway 25 that's very dangerous that they're doing some work on. We've talked to him about 31E, and so I feel really good about the partnership that we're having with the state and the things that look. They just move slow, but they're working on it. So, and I think that's something that right now is something that do I think it's going to happen this year? No, but I could see it next year, them revamping coming around that curve, because it is dangerous.
Well, good deal. Well, I appreciate you so much sharing that with us, Toby. So if that's everything on your report, we sure appreciate that. Do you have any report? No report.
I'm still, all right. I wanted to, and so Lindsay Hollow's kind of in the same boat. And I wanted to, I actually sent this in y'all's packet in the email, but I'll hand it out. And that's why I've got Mr. Marshall here with me. I hope you can see this. If not, I'll send it on your email so y'all can supersize it. And it's something that, it's just an oddity I wanted to discuss.
While you're passing that out, so we can ask you, what I was trying to say earlier was that part of that Transportation Modernization Act, that money, we were just discussing? Is it totally separate?
I think it's totally separate. This is part of the, you know, when I come into office, we would get somewhere in the vicinity of 480,000 used on state aid.
Yeah.
And when Governor Lee, back late last fall, decided to give the counties $300 million, it actually gave our part of it was about 5.1 million.
Well, there was another amount though back in the spring that was, there's HB 321, and as part of that Transportation Modernization Act that they passed to give all the counties an extra amount of money.
We may be, I don't know the number, but the state aid money that we got, the extra 300 million, and that might be the number for it. I don't know. But it's something that has really helped us. It's made to inject tonnage into the county systems because all the infrastructure and the roadways were really behind.
Yeah.
And the state roads never did recover from 2006 and 2007 when the liquid AC just went through the roof.
Okay.
And what happened, TDOT pulled back funding for a year. I think it was in 2006, and the liquid AC doubled when they gave the money back the next year. So they didn't give all the money back. So they've been trying to figure out a way to inject monies back into the county to help them try to catch up. All right. This is a project. This is Exhibit B. It's Lower Station Camp Creek Road. And what you have, there was an oddity. Usually, when people, this is a road that Rogers Group extended out to Station Camp because they kind of closed where the train crossing goes. They closed that down at the asphalt plant, and they extended this road and built it and tied it into Upper Station Camp Creek Road. Well, in doing so, when the previous administration approved the roadway, they didn't go through the normal process of going through the plating. And I was just going to let Marshall explain this to you because I think it's something that what we're doing here is right, but it's kind of backwards in my opinion. So I just want to be upfront with y'all and let you know what we're doing. They're putting in a water line utility. And this is something normally what we do. They have the plat to show that on the front end before the road is accepted. And this was done probably a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
Right. This is, I think, 2019.
Okay, it's been a few years.
But yeah, I mean, something that I think, normally this is a recorded right of way, and even though the road's been accepted, we don't have a plat that shows the right of way. So this water line is being shown on this piece of paper is being built, and usually we have a plat that kind of shows where everything is, but it's just basically done. This exhibit is able to illustrate where the easements and where the road is. That's why I think Toby has just brought it before you just kind of explain kind of what's happening.
It's something that the utilities are on the side that the CSX roadway is. And so I actually put it in letter form that going forward, any widening of this roadway will be on the opposite side of the railroad tracks and not on this side because it's just too cramped already. And so we just wanted to document it, and like I said, I think y'all have it in your packet, but if I need to resend it to you, the letters in there of what I wrote to the contractor that's going to be doing this. This is in a right of way. All he's going to do, he's buying a right of way permit to install it. The only thing that I was concerned about is that this should have been done back some time ago. And so we've now have it, and we have it on record, and I just want everybody to know it.
Right, had the plat been recorded.
Yeah. We wouldn't even be talking about it right now, so it's just kind of an oddity. Yes.
Has the work already been done on that waterway, or this is the catch-up work on documenting the work that was
This
done?
is the catch-up work.
The work is already done.
No, the water line has not been put in yet. But usually when they do a plat, they know it's going to be done, and they go ahead and put it in the plat before it's ever accepted.
Do you know what that water line's going to? Like why it's happening now?
I think this is a timing. I think there's an apartment complex down on the other side of the station.
it's White House Utilities making them do it.
Just more demand on the system, there's, other bigger projects, just putting in more line. This is one of the low line, I'm sure you don't know the answer to that.
I know.
So this is just tie in really?
Yeah, but that's all I have.
I appreciate that, I'm sorry to shut.
No, no problem, no problem.
Is there any report from you, Mr. Mayor?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
And there's, no report from the commission business, so there's only one more motion.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
I didn't mean to be confused. I thought you said we had 5 roads permitted.